Dear friends, yesterday on the 4th of July, India hosted the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi was in the chair. And this year the summit was held was held virtually, not in person. Some interesting statements were made, but today let me focus only on what Prime Minister Modi said and what the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Mr. Shahbaz Sharif, said at the summit. After listening to Prime Minister Modi's statement, I cannot help but to admit that Prime Minister Modi is the ultimate epitome of Chanakya or Machiavellian politics in our present day world. He said many things which contradict his own policies. For instance, he talked about cross-border terrorism and terror financing, obviously indirectly referring to Pakistan and to a certain extent China. But he very conveniently forgot as to what India has been doing during the last so many years now in abetting and financing terrorism in Pakistan, especially in the province of Balochistan, in Karachi, the largest city of Pakistan, and in Pakistan's erstwhile tribal regions. And then the arrest of Commander Kulbhushan Jadhav in Pakistan in March 2016 established beyond an iota of doubt that India is involved in terrorism, in carrying out terrorism in Pakistan. But he very clearly ignored all those things. Then what about state terrorism? Please do ask the people of occupied Jammu and Kashmir as to what Indian security forces have been doing there, and with impunity, frankly speaking. Then Prime Minister Modi talked about radicalization. I found it hilarious, frankly speaking, because on his watch, and because he represents the face of Hindutva, and what the votaries of Hindutva have been doing during the last 8-9 years on his watch, we all know about that, how the supporters or the followers Hindutva have been killing Muslims, killing Christians and other minorities, and how they have been vandalizing their places of worship is known to everyone around the world. So please, Prime Minister Modi, before giving sermons to other countries or talking about enhancing cooperation among SCO countries, please first you look inward. And then Prime Minister Modi, I have, whenever such an incident happens in India, where a Muslim is killed or a Christian is killed or a church is burned down, he would never condemn it. That is something very, very not only interesting, rather it's worrying, frankly speaking, because that emboldens these people to continue doing these things against Indian minorities. So I think India needs to do some introspection, some reflection before he could ask the SCO member countries to come together and fight these scourges, terrorism and radicalization. Then he talked about the Chabahar port and international north-south transit corridor to create connectivity between South Asia and Central Asia, the landlocked region. Obviously, he could not talk about the Gwadar port because he mentioned that all countries should respect sovereignty and territorial integrity of each other member countries, and obviously he was referring to indirectly again referring to Chabahar. But his whole statement was bereft of sincerity, I would say, because when you say something and those things and your actions defy those things, then obviously you are not able to pursue your policies effectively or sincerely. On the other hand, I think Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif's statement was very comprehensive, and he also talked about many things, but we can all say that Pakistan clearly wants to pursue all these things, but not in a selective manner. For example, he talked about connectivity, and he mentioned about CPAC, and said that Pakistan is for connectivity, Pakistan is for stability and peace, but you cannot talk about these things if the countries are embroiled in bilateral disputes. Then he talked about, and rightly so, about resolving the long-standing bilateral disputes, and then the rights of people under foreign occupation. These are the things which really matter, because you cannot build regional cooperative frameworks, or you cannot have regional connectivity if member countries of any particular organization even do not trust to each other, do not talk to each other because of long-standing political disputes. So these are the realities which the SCO countries need to handle, rather than issuing irrelevant sermons. So in my view, Prime Minister Modi's statement, though many people in India would commend him for mentioning cross-border terrorism, which has really become a trite mantra now in my view. But I have been watching Indian television channels, and there, he is being praised for taking Pakistan to the task and taking China to the task. But the world knows as to what India is up to, and what India has been doing in promoting terrorism, and the state terrorism in particular. So this is, state terrorism is far more dangerous in my view, because India can always take shelter. States can always take shelter, whereas actions against individuals or proscribed organizations or terror organizations can be taken without much difficulty, which Pakistan and other countries we have been doing. But the question is, and I think Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif was spot on when he said that countries must not use state terrorism for diplomatic point scoring, which India has been doing, unfortunately, for the last so many years, especially since 9/11. So India needs to do some introspection, some reflection, rather than giving us these lectures all the time. Thank you very much.